Hi everybody, it's Miss Gammon. Happy Monday. I hope that you all had a wonderful Mother's Day yesterday. Shout out to all the moms out there who are keeping their kids happy and healthy and safe and fed and being their teacher and doing 100 other jobs, I'm sure. So I hope you all had a great day. And to the kids, if you didn't get a chance to do something special for your mom yesterday, it's not too late. You can still take a piece of paper and make a beautiful card for mom and write about what she means to you, or give her a big hug, or just be on your best behavior for a day. I'm sure they'd appreciate that right about now. I'm super excited this week because we heard from Anderson. Hi, Anderson. He said he's doing all of his work and he's happy. So it was so great to hear from you, Anderson. Hayden we heard from, and Hayden's feeling a little bit upset because he's stuck at home, which we're all feeling right about now, Hayden. But I love how you put an LOL at the end of your comment to show that you still have a really good sense of humor about it. That's super important. I heard from Nelson, and Nelson really enjoyed last week's book, The Little Orange Splat, and he drew a picture of his dream house, which would be a monster truck. How cool is that? I can't wait to see that picture. I don't have a copy of it yet, but as soon as I get one, I'll show it to you. So hang on to it, Nelson, because we all want to see it. Farah had super exciting news this week. She told me that Donna is engaged to her dad, and Farah gets to be a flower girl in the wedding. So congratulations, Farah. That's wonderful. Great news and some happy times to look forward to. I heard from Mia, whose mom gave her dog Lily a haircut. Maybe your mom could give me a haircut, Mia. I could use one right about now. She said it came out great. Mia's also been very busy reading. She's reading Junie B. Jones, which is wonderful. I love it when you guys find titles on your own to read. Luke was telling me all about his cat Ace and the adventures of Ace, and I'm trying to talk him into writing a book about Ace because I think everybody would enjoy hearing about the adventures of Ace. So keep thinking about that, Luke. I think you should do it. He's also reading a lot of Bad Guys books, which is a graphic novel, kind of like a comic book series that he and his mom found. So good for you, Luke. Braden has been reading some Cars books, one about Mater that I'm sure his mom used to read to him, but now he can read it on his own. So good for you, Braden. That's great. And who else have we heard from? Yari. Yari and I had a nice long conversation on the phone the other day because Yari let me know that she was having a little bit of trouble with the math, which is totally understandable because you guys have not had a lot of lessons. Mrs. Palestina is doing a great job, but it's so hard to squeeze everything into one math lesson for a week. So Yari let me know, and I called her up, and we worked on her math together over the phone. And I had a great time. So if any of you are having trouble with any of your work, Mrs. Berry, Mrs. Palestina, Miss Tramontana, or myself would be happy to help you. Teachers want to teach, and I had such a great time with Yari over the phone yesterday. So please, during the weekly phone calls, when someone calls your house, if you're having trouble with anything, please let the person, whether it's Mrs. Contreras, Miss Berry, myself, Mrs. Palestina, Miss Canavan, who else am I thinking? Anyone else? Anyone who calls and talks to your mom every week. If you're having trouble with anything, all of us would be more than happy to give you a phone call and help you out with anything that you're having a little bit of a hard time with. So please let us know because we love, love, love to help you. All right, today we're going to start to talk about characters. Last week we talked about telling a summary of a story, and that helps us understand what's happening in the story and the important parts. Another way to help understand stories is to think about the characters that are in the stories. Characters are the people, animals, or creatures that a story is about. And when we think about characters, we think about what they look like, but we also think about how they think, what they think, how they feel, and how they act. So today I'm going to read you a book called The Invisible Boy. And while I'm reading this, I want you to think about what this character is feeling and how he acts and what you think he's thinking. Right away when I look at this book, I see the title by Trudy Ludwig, The Invisible Boy. And always we want our minds to start thinking right from the title because the title gives us a really good clue or a look into what the book is about. It says The Invisible Boy, but I can see him. I don't think he's invisible. I wonder why they use the word invisible. Let's take a look. The Invisible Boy by Trudy Ludwig. Can you see Brian, the invisible boy? Even Miss Carlotti has trouble noticing him in her classroom. She's too busy dealing with Nathan and Sophie. Oh, here's Brian right here. Look at all of the other children are very colorful, and Brian is just in, looks like a pencil sketch. Nathan has problems with what Miss Carlotti calls volume control. He uses his outside voice inside too much. Sophie whines and complains when she doesn't get her way. Nathan and Sophie take up a lot of space. Brian doesn't. When the bell rings for recess, Micah and JT take turns choosing kids for their kickball teams. The best players get picked first, then the best friends of the best players, then the friends of the best friends. Only Brian is left, still waiting and hoping. I wonder how he's feeling right about now. JT glances in Brian's direction and just as quickly looks away. We've got enough players for each team, he tells the others. Let's play ball. Wonder how Brian's feeling now. In the cafeteria, Madison and her friends talk about her birthday party. The rope swung over the pool. It was awesome, said JT. Yeah, so was the water slide, said Fiona. That was the best pool party ever. I'm so glad you guys had fun, said Madison. Everybody did, except for Brian. He wasn't invited. At choosing time, while the other kids play board games and read, Brian sits at his table doing what he loves to do best. He draws fire-breathing dragons scaling tall buildings. Thank you for toasting my marshmallow. Space aliens locked in intergalactic battles. I got you now. And greedy pirates digging for treasures. Crackers, arg! And the parrots saying, yay! And superheroes with the power to make friends wherever they go. Hi, friend, have a cookie. Hi! And look, the superhero has a bee. I wonder if that's for Brian. On Monday morning, Mrs. Carlotti introduces Justin, a new student to the class. Brian smiles shyly at him. Some of the other kids sneak looks at Justin, trying to figure out if he's cool enough to be their friend. They haven't quite made up their minds yet. Oh, look at Brian. I see a tiny bit of color in his cheek. I think he's hopeful. Maybe he'll have a new friend. At lunch, Madison and JT watch Justin eat with chopsticks. What's that? Asks Madison as she points to Justin's food. It's bulgogi. What? Bulgogi. It's Korean barbecued beef. My grandpa made it for me. It's really good. Do you want to try some? There's no way I'd eat bulgogi. And the kids laugh. All of them, that is, except for Brian. He sits there wondering, which is worse, being laughed at or feeling invisible? The next day, when Justin goes to his cubby to put away his backpack, he notices a piece of paper with his name on it. Justin, I thought the bulgogi looked good. From Brian. Yum. Looks like Brian's still trying to make a new friend. At morning recess, Brian finds a piece of chalk on the ground and starts drawing away. You're Brian, right? Yeah. Thanks for the note. Hey, Justin, Emilio calls out from the tetherball court. You're up next. Sorry, I gotta go, said Justin. By the way, that's a really cool drawing, he adds before taking off. Look at how Brian, he's turning even more colorful when Justin gave him a compliment. Back in class, Mrs. Carlotti asks the kids to team up in 2s or 3s for a special project. The kids scurry around the room to pair off. Brian heads towards Justin. I love how he's still trying. I'm already with Justin, said Emilio. Find someone else. Brian looks at the floor, wishing he could draw a hole right there to swallow him up. Mrs. Carlotti said we can have up to 3 people in our group. We're only 2. Come on, Emilio. Let him work with us. Okay, I guess. Look at how colorful he got all of a sudden. Mrs. Carlotti gives the class directions for the project. Your assignment is to work together to write a story about what you see in the photograph. Use your imagination and have fun. Whoa, cool, says Emilio. What kind of people do you think would live in houses like that? I don't know, but I bet Brian could draw them to go with our story, said Justin. Brian smiles as he takes out his lucky pen. Look at how colorful he is now. The crooked story we made up on the spot. Look at those beautiful creative pictures to go with their story. They're all laughing and working together and having a great time. It's lunchtime again, Brian's least favorite part of the day. Another 20 long minutes of kids talking and laughing with everyone else but him. Brian, he hears someone shout, "Hey Brian, over here." Brian turns and sees Justin waving him over. Emilio nods at Brian as he makes room for him at the table. Maybe, just maybe, Brian's not so invisible after all. Cookie, thanks. And that's the story of The Invisible Boy. Now, when we think about the character of Brian, there are a couple of things we can think about. First, we could think about the outside. The outside of Brian, the character, is, what do you think? When we think about Brian, he's a boy. You could put that down. He's definitely a boy. What else does he look like? Think about that for a minute. He has short hair, for sure. If I look at the picture, so you can see it, he's wearing glasses. You could put that one down here. Oh, shush, Mimi. That's my cat meowing in the background. He is small. He's not a big boy. He's kind of a tiny boy. And he's a student. And I know that he's a student because I can see him in school. So if I just look at him and don't think about him, look at the outside. I know he's a boy. He's small. He has short hair. He's a student. And he wears glasses. But when we're thinking about characters, we also want to think about character traits. And to think about character traits, we need to think about the inside. What's going on the inside? What's he feeling? What's he acting like? What's he thinking? Well, one thing, and when we do look for these, we need to look back to prove it in the book. And the first one I came up with is quiet. Because when you look at this picture, everyone else is kind of moving all over the place and being noisy, and he's just very quiet. So I'm going to put quiet up here. Then I noticed here that Brian is shy. See how he's kind of leaning away from everybody? These kids certainly aren't shy, are they? But you can see that he's pretty shy. I also noticed that he looked lonely. Because, actually before lonely, he doesn't give up. He's kind of hopeful. If you look at this picture, even though he's not being chosen, he's still raising his hand. He's still trying. He's still hopeful. So that's definitely part of his character traits. I also noticed that he is incredibly creative, isn't he? He's very artistic. He's a really good artist. So we're going to put artistic because we know that about him. I also noticed that he is kind of lonely. Even though he's in a classroom, he's kind of by himself. But when he sees a new student, he's still not giving up hope. He's kind of sad when he's sitting at lunch and everybody's talking and he's kind of all by himself. That definitely tells me that he's sad. When the kids were making fun of his friend's lunch, he drew him a picture and told him he thought it looked good. That tells me that he's kind. He's a nice kid. That's a really kind thing to do. And over here at the end, after he's made a new friend, I would say that he is definitely feeling happy. So look at that. If you look at our list here, can a character feel sad and happy? Yes, they can, because the great thing about characters and the fun part when we're looking at characters in story is that characters can change from the beginning of the story to the end. In the beginning, he was quiet, shy, he didn't give up hope, he was very artistic, he was definitely lonely and sad, but he was also very kind. And in the end, he ended up happy. So when you're thinking about characters, I want you to pick a book today. Any book that you want, that you can read. Read it to yourself, and then draw a picture of the character in the middle. I forgot I had my picture of Brian here. Put him right there. And over here is Brian on the outside. Things that you can see. Over here you can make a list of your character on the inside. What are they feeling? How are they acting? What are they thinking? And those are all character traits, and these all help us to understand a story. And it helps us understand how the characters can change from the beginning to the end of the story. So, that's what your job is for today. Pick a book, think of the main character in your book, and then make yourself a list. You can draw a picture of the character in the middle, and then write a few things of how they look on the outside. Then after you read the book, write about character traits. How are they on the inside? And also think about how that character changes from the beginning of the book to the end of the book, because usually characters do change a little bit. So that's your job for today. And if you don't have books to read, please let us know. We would be more than happy to get some to you. You can always use a book from Raz Kids if you like. You can go on to the reading room there and pick a book and listen to it and do the activity from one of those books. All right, have fun, and I can't wait to see those pictures. Keep them coming. Have a great day. Bye-bye.